We're a few days into January, so I figure it's a good time to kind of look ahead and let you guys know what's coming up for the podcast. Welcome to Factor Nostalgia, where we discuss everything theme park, then, now, and when. I'm your host, Sarah, and today's just going to be a quick look ahead into the year. Kind of discuss, the plans that are coming, theme park wise, content wise, stuff like that. Now, I wanna take it sort of month by month to let you guys know if there's any big stuff happening that you can expect content on. That's more current, I should say, than some of the stuff I do otherwise. The look backs and the stories behind the rides and things like that. Of course, that's still gonna happen, but there are like some moments in the year probably where there's going to be content that's more heavily featuring one type of theme park, one type of event, or things like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I know we're well ahead into January, and as you guys might have noticed, it's been kind of an irregular month content wise. Now, the reason for this is that in my, regular life, I have a day job, and this month I actually started a new one. So that's been taking up a lot of time and attention, as it should, because, your girl still got bills to pay. So as soon as that settled a little bit more, I expect to bring back the consistency in terms of content. So, bear with me for that, you guys. I hope you can understand that, I do this on the side. So January is going to be more themed towards that. Now, I don't have a whole bunch of theme park plans yet this year. So February, March are usually the colder months. There's not a whole lot to do. So I'm hoping to just kind of do some content that's more focused on looking back at certain rides or looking ahead at what's coming to Europe as a whole, to be honest, because I have some content like on the docket that's not just Disney and all the expansion they're doing, but also some other theme parks and stuff that's happening there. Now, April, May is going to start getting really interesting because, it's going to get a little bit warmer. It's going to be more fun to go out and do stuff. And I do have another Disney trip planned to Disneyland Paris. And just like in December, it's sort of, not for me. Last year in June, I did a trip that was more for me. And I shared a little bit more, especially on social media. This trip is for my niece. She doesn't know about it yet. She doesn't listen to this, so it's fine. I can tell you guys. But the cool stuff is that I'm going to be doing things that I don't normally get to do in the parks because I'm building this around, a 7-year-old. So there's going to be character dining. We're going to be able to see the new nighttime show, which has debuted this past week, which is called Disney Tales of Magic. Of course, the music festival theme is going on, so, I'm going to share stuff about that, what that looks like. You're going to see it on Instagram, but I'm also going to bring it back in the podcast, of course. And obviously, the thing I'm most excited about is the nighttime show. Another thing that could potentially, I may just see it or just miss it, is the reopening of Studio One when it turns into World Premiere, where it leads into World Premiere Plaza, which is step one of turning Walt Disney Studios into Disney Adventure World. This year, it's still going by Walt Disney Studios, so, don't expect any huge changes there, but it's the first step. So I'm going to try to share as much content as I can around that. So if you're not following along on Instagram, you really should. It's at Factor Nostalgia, very easy, so make sure you follow along there. Now, June, once again, warmer months, but everybody's still working. So I'm hoping to get a day or two, maybe to some smaller parks that we don't hear a lot about usually. And what I really want to do this year is try to squeeze in Toverland, which is a relatively small park in the Netherlands, but they've been building and growing so fast, you guys, and I've never been, and I'm super curious to see it. So I'm really hoping I'm going to be able to visit and, let you guys know how that was. And I'm going to also try to do a little bit more content about some different parks as well, but, it would make more sense if I can do that and actually know what I'm talking about. So I would like to visit the parks as well. Then July, August is, of course, the big summer break here in the Netherlands. So I'm expecting at least one Efteling trip. That's usually when that happens. I can't imagine I'm gonna go a year without going to the Efteling, but who knows? I don't want to, be too presumptuous here, but probably. And what's going to be interesting to see is kind of, Danse Macabre almost a year later. I already saw some news reports coming out that, on quiet days they operate the ride on half capacity. So I think the novelty has worn off a little bit. That being said, I still think it's an excellent ride. It's not a ride I'm going to queue that long for again. So in that sense, it's good that the novelty has worn off a little bit so I can do it again and let you guys know what my second impression is. So that's July, August. Then the fall from September on, it's unclear. Also because of the new job. And I kind of have to see how that, all turns out and how it all goes. I would like to visit a Halloween event at whatever park. But we'll see if that's manageable or not in terms of job and things like that. And other responsibilities. As you guys know, um, you know, family life isn't as predictable as you would like it to be sometimes. So that's a little bit too far ahead for me to let you guys know. But in terms of content, um, yeah, like I said, I have a whole list of topics that I still want to get into. And, with that being said, I would also love to know from you guys what type of content you would like to hear from me. Is it more retrospectives? Is it more, deep dives? Or is it more looking forward to what's coming, more current stuff, more news? I started this channel with the idea to get into the stories behind the attractions, and a lot of that was driven, of course, obviously, by stuff like the Frontierland story, which I'll link to in the show notes. The story behind Frontierland in Disneyland Paris, because it's so well done. And you saw the same thing with Danse Macabre in the Efteling, and the Disney Society of Explorers and Adventurers, which I still owe you guys a sequel to it, which is coming. I promise, I promise, I promise. It's just a lot of work to kind of figure out the script for that. So, let me know what type of content you guys appreciate, or do you want to veer a little bit more into different types of content? Because I also noticed that sometimes we talk a little bit more about the movies, for example, the Disney movies, the Renaissance movies, since, we're Factor Nostalgia. So we're, most of us, a bunch of 90s babies who grew up on these Disney Renaissance movies. So if that's stuff you want to hear about, let me know about that too, Um, I think that about covers it for what is coming this year. So, yeah, with that, I guess we're kind of wrapping this up already. So it's definitely a short one this week, which, after the last two-parter maybe isn't so bad. So I'm going to ask you guys, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any future content. Comment, email, do whatever you like to let me know what type of content you want to hear, what type of content you want to get from me. Is it tips and tricks, more in-depth stuff, or anything at all? Just let me know. And make sure you also share your favorite episodes with whoever might be interested in them. Now, as I said, I'll link to the Frontierland story in the show notes. I'll also include Danse Macabre and the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And, just look around and see what type of content, you're into. But, those are some of my personal favorites, just in terms of I had a really great time figuring out, the backstories and things like that. Anyway, yeah, so share, please do. And also, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.